What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about video markers, how to customize them, label them, and organize them to make editing your project that much easier and that much more organized. Now let's get started. Now, if you enjoy watching these videos and you want to see more like it, please subscribe to the channel because I'm constantly creating new content. So let's head down here in the timeline. You'll notice I have a couple clips down here. I have this clip of this bee, and I also have a clip of a Jeep going through kind of a hill. So some of the basic things you would do for markers is, let's just say right here at this point, I want to do like a lower third or a title, maybe describing the specific species of the bee. So let's just say I want to do a marker here. But throughout my entire project, I have a bunch of different places that I want to do titles, and I don't want to keep going back and forth. I just want to put markers down so they're much easier to find later when I'm in that section. Think of markers as like a sticky note. You're literally just writing a little reminder and you're sticking the sticky note in this location, so when you look back, you can access that specific location much quicker. So we'll start with the basics. So in the timeline, let's just say right here, I want to put a marker as a reminder. You just come over here to the left and you'll see this little dot thing where it says add marker, but you'll also notice right next to that there's an M, which is a keyboard shortcut, which is the easiest way to go. So if I just click M, you'll notice I put a marker right here. And then if you double click it, it'll bring up a dialog box. This is just general information to have clarity down the road. So I just want to do a lower third for a name. So I know going forward, if I ever think, where did I want to put that lower third? I just go back to this marker right there, good to go. And then I could apply my lower third or my text or my title or whatever reminder that was for. Now another thing is, once you push the M down, let's say I want to do another one here. And instead of clicking M and then double clicking, I can just do M twice. It'll add a marker and also pull up that box without having to double click on it. So that just kind of saves you time. Markers really come in handy when you have a larger project. Say you're working on a full feature film. You have hours and hours of footage you're trying to sort, cut, remember where to put different things, titles, that sort of thing. These markers come in handy for those larger projects. Another thing I would do is get in a habit of having the same routine as far as colors. Here we want to do an effect. Say we want to do an effect here. And let's just say black and white. So say for a quick glimpse, I want to turn this black and white because it's a flashback or it's some sort of effect you're trying to reference. But say for all effects, we want to do red. And once I click OK, you'll notice now there's a red tab versus the green tab. So now we've established all titles and lower thirds will be in the green, all the effects will be in red. So as you go throughout your whole sequence and your, an hour, 2-hour movie, you have all these references. So once you've done the general edit, you can jump back to these key spots very quickly and address the issues you need to address. I'm going to go back to this first one. Another thing you can do is you can change the duration of this. So here it's a slider on the blue lines. You can either slide it up or you can click on it and just say you want it for 2 seconds. Now you'll see here it's for 2 seconds. You can expand this or shorten it as needed too. So say you want this lower third to last the entirety of the clip to the end, you pull it down there. Now, instead of double clicking it, the shortcut for that is if you just hover over the marker and you just click Alt and click on it, you'll see the little handles. You can grab it and extend it manually that way too, without having to double click and pull up that menu. And also when you're adding markers, make sure none of the clips are highlighted because that'll affect the clip itself, not in the timeline. So you always make sure those are unclicked. Let's put a marker here, let's put a marker here, marker here, marker here, marker here. So now we have all the markers down. Let's just pretend we went through and labeled them and organized them. And you want to be more specific instead of trying to find it and click on it exactly and do it that way. The way you can jump markers forward and backwards. On a Mac, if you do Shift M, it'll jump forward. And if you want to go backwards, hold down Shift Command M and it goes backwards. So just Shift M goes forward, Shift Command M goes backwards. Now, like I said, imagine you have a much longer project and you have a lot of these down here. If you head over here into the project panel, there's also a markers tab. Once you click that, it's showing there's no markers in the tab, even though my timeline has it, because I haven't highlighted the timeline. So once you click on the timeline here, so the blue line is around, it's activated the timeline, and now you'll see all these different markers. And imagine if you fill out the comments, you have all the different information here. It can be very helpful to jump to those specific sections. You can also filter. Let's just say I only want the reds. If I click the red, it'll pull that effect one that we established as the red color, or the green for titles and lower thirds. And you can customize, like I said, the color code to match whatever workflow you have. I would just suggest whatever you decide to create, stick with that specific pattern on every project, then it'll just become second nature. Now, one other thing I think markers are very important with, let me head back here to my videos. Let's just pretend this is an interview clip. Obviously this is only a couple seconds long. Let's just pretend this is a half-an-hour clip and it's an interview. You can create markers within the clip itself, not on the timeline like I showed you before, but within the clip here. So let's just say move back here, and let's just pretend at this point, if I click M like normal, it creates a marker. Now we do the exact same thing, but you can name it, say it's the interview question, with the guy named Bob. You can do Bob, so you know it's his. And the comments you can say, when he's talking about his shop. So he's talking about his shop and repairs for the Jeep that's in the thing. So once you click that, same thing, you can extend it by clicking Option, and you can drag that section, and then you can keep moving to the next part that he talks about and say now he's talking about the tires. So we'll do another marker. We'll click Option, hold the bars out, so as long as, say, he's talking. Double click that. We'll go back, we'll still name it Bob. And now he's talking about tires and gas. And click OK. So now we have these two markers inside of the clip. So like I said, if you have a half-an-hour interview clip, you could have 10, 12 of these markers of the specific things you want to pull out and drag into the timeline. So instead of taking a normal clip and doing in point, out point, dragging and dropping, and do that numerous times, you can just go through the entire clip, mark it as you go, so then you're ready to rock and roll. Now if you head down here to the project panel, click marker again, because this is highlighted, you're going to see just those two markers here because the source panel is what's highlighted. But if we move on down to the timeline and click on that, and you see the blue line highlighting the timeline, you're going to see all the markers here that we added in the timeline, and it's not showing the ones up here in the source panel for that specific video. Now, one thing you'll notice, because we entered these here, and this clip is already in my timeline, you'll notice the markers here where it says Bob's Shop, Bob's Tires and Gas. So whatever you include here throughout the clip, if you drag the entire thing down, you can then jump down to these clips inside the clip. And if you want to edit, you can then, chop that away, or if you want to create a cut here and then cut off the dead weight, you can just cut like that, and it'll cut off the end. So now you've cut all the dead footage you don't want out, and now you have just the specific clips that you created markers for here in the source panel. Now, one more thing I want to show you. If you want to delete just a specific marker, you can click on it one time, right mouse click, clear selected marker, and it'll clear that one marker. If you want to clear the entire group, come down here and it says clear all markers. So now if you want to delete the markers inside the video, not inside the timeline, you highlight these clips, and if you right mouse click, and if you click clear all markers, it's going to clear the markers that we placed inside of that clip, not the timeline. So now you see those disappear here. Now if you unclick the video, so now you're just in the general timeline, and if you right mouse click, clear all markers, it's going to delete every marker inside the timeline itself. So you can see all the ones up on top disappear. So you can clear just the ones inside the clip, or you can clear all the ones up here in the timeline. I'm going to undo that. So those are all very useful ways to use markers for organization and just time saving, especially if it's a long project. If you do the work early on, it'll save you so much time at the end. Anyway, that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel because I'm constantly creating new content. That being said, have a great day. Later.